Damn. That was it was unexpected, and I think none of us expected any of that. Like, it wasn't, I mean, like, I wanted this dude at the trade deadline, and I put something on my Twitter and I pinned it. I was like, before the trade deadline even, I want Juan Soto to be a Yankee. And then I put in parentheses something like, I know it's not going to happen, but I'm allowed to wish. Welcome to the show, episode 589. We got a guest coming in the second half of the show. But stick around. We've got a lot to discuss. As you can tell, we're talking Yankees again. It's been since like before September. You know, I skipped the last 3 series of the season because I was in Italy, and I was like, why waste my time on this dire team that has no hope? But look where we are now. Things feel good. Very good. Job is not done yet. You know, it's not finished, as Kobe Bryant used to say. But we're headed in a good direction. And we're going to talk about it here on BD4, episode 589 of the podcast. I'm your host, RJ. Let's get right into it. Welcome to the podcast. I'm your host, RJ Carbone. You are listening to BD4, where there's no better way to get your Yankees and Knicks analysis. We also do MMA. Yanks every series, Knicks every game, MMA on occasion. Let's get to it.
Anthony for 3. That one goes down, and the game is tied.
I'd like to take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody.
The Yankees are champions of baseball. Shaking and baking right here on the neophyte.
Trying to close the show.
She was doing a great job of feeding that. It's over.
Coming up, so Yankee. Don't you regret not coming to the Knicks? Don't you regret not coming to the Knicks?
Game over. World Series over. Yankees win. The Yankees win.
All right. Welcome to the show. Welcome to episode 589 of BD4. Thanks for stopping by and tuning into the podcast. The New York Yankees have acquired Juan Soto. And oh my gosh, am I excited to talk about this one. The Yankees they're villains again, folks. Hold on. They are villains again. The evil empire. I don't want to say it's fully made its return because, again, the job is not finished yet. And I think there's one more guy that we'll discuss later in the show that we absolutely need to attack on Monday. But that was an evil empire move. That was an old George Steinbrenner move. They dug into their old bag and they pulled out one of their tricks by trading for Juan Soto. And that's the way you got to do it for the Yankees, man. Go be the Yankees. We've all been saying this. Stop trying to nitpick. Stop trying to get these signings that come off the cheap and trying to find diamonds in a rough or, you know, bringing in these older, washed-up veterans who were once all-stars. Stop trying to do that. Stop trying to be different. Go be the Yankees. Go spend. Spend money, buy a championship, trade your entire team away, all your depth. Go do that. Enough with the homegrown only shit. Throw that out the window and be the Yankees. That's the arrogance I want. That's the mentality, the attitude I want. That's all we were asking for. Go be the Yankees. You passed it up a ton of times the last several off seasons, right? I mean, you know, most recently, all these shortstops the past 2-3 years, Turner, Correa, Seager, right? They're having success. Obviously, this whole thing started when fans were very pissed off, including myself, when they didn't even choose to, you know, really seriously pursue Bryce Harper and Manny Machado. It's like you're the Yankees. That's what you used to do all the time. And so 2 days ago, on December 6th, was it? Yes. The Yankees officially, after, like a day of, did they? They officially sealed the deal and they made the move. And I'm happy about it. And I cannot wait to be an arrogant, scumbag, rodent, terrible human being Yankee fan for the next year. And hopefully, 15 years after that, because Juan Soto appears to be headed to the Yankees. That was a grade A classic by that whichever 17-year-old intern runs the Yankees account. My gosh, that was genius. But man, it feels good. It feels awesome. Juan Soto's a Yankee, and we're here to discuss it. So welcome to the show, episode 589 of the podcast. I'm your host, RJ Carbone, and if you are new here to the show, well, thanks for stopping by first and foremost, but you can support the channel, the podcast. You can follow us on social media. You can go find our website where I write the blog. That's all in the description. Now, if you're watching the YouTube edit, the Spotify video edit, it should be on the screen. But, man, I am thrilled. My gosh, am I thrilled to have this dude, a New York. My favorite baseball team has Juan Soto. That's so hard to think about. Like, it's still not fully set in. And when it does, I can't imagine the excitement I'm going to have. Like, I still feel like I'm dreaming. So for those of you who have a Jacoby Ellsbury jersey with the no name on the back, as you should not have a name on the back. Keep that. I hope you didn't burn the Ellsbury jerseys, folks. I hope you didn't burn them. Because you're going to need them. And you have a free one right now. Unfortunately, I never bought a Jacoby Ellsbury jersey. So I'm going to have to buy a, let's just say, pretty expensive number 22. But I'll do it. I don't care at this point. This guy's a Yankee. And Juan Soto became a Yankee because Brian Cashman made his first 5-player trade ever by sending Michael King, Drew Thorpe, Randy Vasquez, Johnny Brito, and here's a twist, Kyle Higashioka to the San Diego Padres for Juan Soto and Trent Grisham. Now, obviously, that's a lot of pitching depth, and we'll get into some discussion about it. And we're going to miss Michael King. Kinger was great. He was a very versatile right-handed arm. Wipeout slider, sweeper, whatever the hell you want to call it. Good, mid-90s fastball with some sink, tail. He was awesome, man. He was so effective for the Yankees out of the bullpen. They said, hey, we suck at this point. Let's experiment with him as a starting pitcher. And they did that in the final, 2 months. And it worked out very well. The majority of his starts, outside maybe one, were very good. He was effective as hell. And he was actually a plan to be in, he was supposed to be a staple in the rotation next year. So I'm going to miss Michael King. The Padres have a good pitcher in him as long as he stays healthy. I believe they have 2 more years of control with him too. He's elite. He's one of the elite relief pitchers in the game. I would think they're going to try to put him in their rotation because I know the Padres need some starting pitching help. Drew Thorpe, one of the Yankees' top prospects, one of their top pitching prospects. He may have been their number 1 pitching prospect. I'm not sure if Hampton was above him. I don't remember. But he's a guy who had a very good season last year, was going to get promoted. I don't think he ever did. I think he's still in AA. But I wouldn't be shocked if he saw big league time with the Padres next year. I don't think his stuff, like his fastball is not crazy, but I think he's a good breaking ball pitcher. But he's out. And then, of course, Randy Vasquez and Johnny Brito helped the Yankees in their rotation last year when guys went down. They did a really nice job filling in. Vasquez impressed me. He was a little unorthodox, but he got the job done. Brito was either good or bad. He was a little inconsistent, but he really shined when they started throwing him out of the bullpen. So those are really, valuable guys to have on your roster. Number 6 starters, guys who can come in, spot start, long relief, 8 innings. And then Kyle Higashioka, who was the longest tenured Yankee. The Yankees were all he ever knew. He did a serviceable job as a backup catcher. I kind of got tired of him at the end. I was like, I just wanted some new faces. And, he had some pop in the bat. So I'm thankful for all of them. And Kyle Higgy will now be headed back home, close to home, in San Diego. So those guys go to San Diego, and the Yankees are acquiring Juan Soto. Had I said it enough? I don't know. So you gotta, first and foremost, give props where it's due. I'll give my credit to Brian Cashman, to Hal Steinbrenner. This was a move they had to do because the 2023 season was an absolute disaster for the New York Yankees. It was horrible. You went into it, you told fans this is going to happen, that's going to happen, it's going to be great. This guy's going to bounce back. You're crazy to think not. They missed the playoffs. They barely find a way to go above 500, but they're last place. And fans are pissed off. And there was so much built-up anger in the fan base, even heading into this season, just from, disappointing in the postseason year after year and having these underwhelming off seasons, that it all came to a head this past season. And fans let the front office know. Online, podcast, social media, at the stadium. I mean, season tickets were down. Renewals were at not an all-time low, but renewals were very low. The Yankees fans hit their wallets, and that's what you got to do. And so you got to credit them for responding and saying, okay, I'm going to dig into my father's bag here. And Hal did that. And he told Cashman, hey, you know what? Let's do it. So props to them both. It's a great deal. They got a great deal for Soto. They dwindled it down. Cashman dwindled it down from the initial offer, which was 7 pitchers. Okay. To 4. So, to be able to keep Dominguez, to be able to keep Anthony Volpe, to keep Spencer Jones, and to keep Alex Verdugo, who there were rumors that they were going to flip, that's a pretty damn good job. Didn't get rid of any of your top guys, your up-and-coming prospects and your upcoming stars. Not one. And while the starting pitching market this offseason isn't great, I think it's enough for the Yankees to be able to maneuver. And the starting pitching market in 2024, even if, God forbid, Juan Soto walks, it's a pretty stacked market. There are a lot of good guys on one-year deals or on the last year of their deal this upcoming season. So this was a deal that I don't see how anybody could be truly upset over. You could be a little skeptical, but if anybody's like pissed off, like how do you have Juan Soto on your baseball team and you're angry? This is arguably a top 3 hitter in the game. The Yankees probably have the 2 best hitters in baseball. Would you rather them run it back? How could you sit here and tell me you prefer them running it back after what you saw in 2023? This was a perfect deal. They got the job done. Not to mention, I'll go further and I'll keep kissing Brian Cashman's ass. Got a great deal on Alex Verdugo. Remember the whole Gleyber Torres rumors? Nobody wanted that to happen. Why trade Gleyber for Alex Verdugo? And he didn't. He went from that happening to, no, I'll give you garbage. I'll give you absolute garbage. I'll give you Greg Weissert. I'll give you some guy named Dick Fitz, swear to God, and I'll give you some guy, Nicholas Judice. Don't even know if I'm pronouncing his name right because nobody knows who those two guys are. We know who Greg Weissert is, and it wasn't great. So, yeah, we got Verdugo for garbage. We said, here, Boston, you're already trash. Take more trash. So credit to him. And all those quotes that we hated hearing just a few weeks ago from Cashman, from Steinbrenner, from Aaron Boone. Cashman's disaster press interview to the media outside that complex. Disastrous. Well, that's all kind of forgotten about right now. And he actually had another comment recently saying he wants to, I'm paraphrasing a little bit here, he wants to make the Yankees the Mecca of baseball. That's a quote I like hearing. But it's not just talk, because he backed it up with the Juan Soto deal. I am so excited, man. So excited to have this guy play for my favorite baseball team. Juan Soto is a New York Yankee. Dude's good, man. He is good. He's got a swagger. He's going to bring a little swagger to the team. I thought Josh Donaldson was going to bring that spice. That's a joke. Juan Soto's got a swag to him, man. Just brings a different look. He plays the game with style. He's got the Soto shake. But he's good, man. And he's like, it's crazy to call him like a veteran. But I mean, he's got experience. He was a 19-year-old rookie. He'll be entering year 7 of his career at only 25 years old. This guy's already got a World Series championship on his shelf from 2020. But this guy's legitimate. He is an insane hitter at the plate. He's got insane left-handed power. And he can go the other way with it. He doesn't really abuse right field, so he's not going to abuse the short porch. But he's got incredible left-handed power the other way. Because he hits the ball ridiculously hard. He's got Bonds-like plate discipline. That's the whole thing on him. The man can draw a walk. The man knows the strike zone. And because of that, he can hit for average. And he makes good contact, consistent contact. He's got a solid arm. I'll give him that. But I guess the con you could throw out there for Juan Soto is he's a bad defensive player. Not going to sugarcoat it. He's not good defensively. Fielding, his range, he's slow. So he's not great on the bases either. Maybe you could say sometimes he hunts for walks when he should be taking pitches 450 feet. But he's going to find a way to do that at the end of the day anyway. So the only downside is the defense, I would say. But the dude is durable. And he's going to bring you pop at the plate. Last season, in 162 games played, by the way, Juan Soto batted .275 with a .410 on base percentage, a .519 slug, a .930 OPS, 158 OPS plus. He had 132 walks, which is a 19% walk rate. And he only had 129 strikeouts to that. Now, that sounds like it's a bit amount of his strikeouts. That sounds like it's a lot of strikeouts. I don't know why I worded it that way. But considering, again, you have to consider the volume. He played every day. And 129 Ks is, in the amount of at-bats, plate appearances he had, that's an 18% K rate. That's very good. He hit 35 home runs, 32 doubles, 109 RBIs, and he even found a way to steal 12 bases. Over the course of his career, Juan Soto is a 284 hitter. The funny thing is that those stats I just read for last year are worse than his career numbers. He's a 284 hitter, a 421 on base, a 524 slugging, 946 OPS, and a 157 OPS plus. 19% walk rate, 17% K rate in his career, 33 home runs per 162, 100 RBIs per 162. So in 6 big league seasons, he's already got all the accolades. He's got a batting title in there. He's got 4 Silver Sluggers. We said he's a World Series champion. He's a 3-time All-Star. And you could probably add that he's a future Hall of Famer. He's on track to ease his way into the Hall of Fame. He's one of the best young players of all time already. Like a guy up to this age, he's on track. He's only 25 years old, man. And that's actually a thing that I heard on McFly's podcast, Big Joe's McFly. I listened to some of his podcasts, and he brought up a very good point about Juan Soto's age and talking about like sustainable success. How do you build sustainable success? And he's saying this is a big if. It's a massive if. And it's an if that might not even become true. But let's say if the Yankees find a way to bring back Soto next winter. The good thing is you got a 25-year-old on your team. So as Judge ages, Soto's going to start hitting his prime. And if you want to take it a step further, he was saying, like, as Soto ages, Dominguez is going to start hitting his prime because he got Judge at 32 in March or April. You got Soto at 25, and you got Dominguez, what is he, 21? How old is Jason Dominguez? Jason Dominguez, age. He's 20. Okay, so he'll be 21 next year. So yeah. So it's like 3. You know what I mean? If you're able to keep all these guys, that's a cornerstone that you're always going to have. Those are 3 cornerstones to build around when the next one eventually fades off. It's pretty impressive. So the vibes are good. The vibes are very good. I'm feeling really good. It's going to be incredible to watch this team. Yankee Stadium, the home opener next year. Whew. I mean, first of all, the money they're going to make is they're going to have packed stadiums every night. They're going to make so much money from this. Ticket sales, revenue, like jersey sales. The energy in the park is going to be out of this world. It's going to be nuts. I'm just thinking about when the Yankees make the postseason again this next season. Juan Soto hitting a home run. Oh my God. Or even just in they open up against the Astros, even in a Yankees-Boston game. Like, wow. I want to hear the roll call for this guy. That's going to be fun. What is he going to do? What's his little gesture going to be? How are the Yankees going to say his name in the roll call? How is John Sterling going to call his home runs? There are a ton of avenues you can go down with that name. Maybe the Yankees, they've got the 99 burger. Maybe they got like a milkshake called the Soto Shake. Right? That would make sense. It's going to be fun, man. Derek Jeter. You saw that thing on Twitter. You saw a couple of things regarding Jeter and Soto on Twitter. You saw a lot of people are resharing that clip from, I think it was from the All-Star break, where he was on the panel on Fox and he was talking about how he proposed the idea that the Yankees bring in Juan Soto at the trade deadline. But then there was the whole thing where Juan Soto was, I don't know, in an MLB shop somewhere, and he was talking about Jeter, and Jeter retweeted it, and he said, "I'll sign an autograph for you at the stadium next year." And the guy wants to be here, man. So I'm just saying, like, I hope it's something we could sell him on. He seems to be excited. I'm excited for the press conference. I'm wondering when that's going to take place. I don't think they've announced it yet. They haven't. I would know. Like, I'm so excited because, like, this is a guy I've wanted not just from last year. Like, I wanted him ever since I heard the Nationals were moving him because, you know, they couldn't do it. And I think he declined over 400-something million from them. So that was a few years ago. Oh, my gosh. Yeah, this press conference, I remember watching the A-Rod press conference live. I still have a picture of it where he's holding up number 13. This in my opinion, is going to be the biggest hype. Like, this is the biggest trade since A-Rod. In my opinion. I think it's going to beat the Stanton one. I think it's got more hype than the Stanton one. I do. Now, the Stanton one had a ton of hype. He just came off that 58, I think it was, home run season. But he was also a guy who people knew was injury prone. I just feel like Juan Soto is so much more. He's durable. So he's a brick. Seen the guy's lower body strength. He can move. Like, I just feel like Juan Soto is going to make so much headlines here. And listen, that was... I get it. There's a risk, but the Yankees are World Series or bust. Next year is their prime window for the World Series. They're in World Series or bust mode more this upcoming season than they've ever been. Hal made the comments the other day saying, "Oh, if we have to, we're going to blow past the $300 million payroll mark." Bit of a different tune than when a few months ago he was saying we shouldn't have to spend X amount of dollars to be a title team. Bit of a different tune. I think they finally realized what they have to do. And again, that's go be the fucking Yankees. So he makes the comment about willing to spend $300 million. You know, you got guys like Judge, going to be 32 next year. Cole's going to be 33 in his prime. He's already 33. Both of those guys are in their primes. So you want to surround them with the best possible talent so you can get this thing done. So what do? You go get guys no matter what, if they're on a rental or if they're under the books for a while. You rent Verdugo. That's what they did. They brought in Verdugo on a 1-year rental. Then they just went and acquired Soto, who's on a 1-year rental. So they're going to have to sell him the idea of New York City living, right? And they're going to have to play the whole Yankee shtick to him. The other guy who they're going to meet on Monday, I hope they do the same thing too. But they're going to have to sell this whole thing to him. You know, New York, so great you say it twice. And the bright lights, the city life, and how the glory here is so much better than it is anywhere else. And how you just sell them on the Yankee history and the success we've had here. And hopefully you can do a little bit of winning too, because that's going to be key. Show the guy this is not the Nationals. Show the guy this is not the Padres. Show them this is the New York Yankees, and we're capable. So, is it going to be easy to bring him back? No. The guy's a Boras client. Scott Boras clients do not sign extension deals. So it's going to be difficult. The guy's 25 years old. So he's going to be heading into free agency at age 26. He's insanely talented. And if he has, the walk year that many star players do, I mean, he's going to be a lot of money, man. He's going to be $500 million plus. That's what I believe. He's going to be $500 million. So, I don't know if the Yankees are going to bring him back. I don't expect them to, honestly. Not if they go and try to sign. If they go and sign Yamamoto for the money that he's expected. I don't know. It's going to be difficult. They do have money coming off the books next winter. I believe you have Rizzo, Glaber, Clay Holmes, Verdugo, Canley. So that right there is $53 million off the books. If Glaber signs, let's say they bring him back on a deal, let's just say it's 30-something million off the books. So that's a positive if you're trying to bring back Juan. But yeah, I think you got to sell him the whole Yankee shtick, what it means to be a Yankee. And somebody brought this up. I saw this point online somewhere. If the Yankees are having a bad season, do you consider moving him at the trade deadline for a haul of prospects or whatever? I don't see them doing that. It's never been a Cashman thing. I mean, he did it once, years ago to lead up to that 2017 squad, but I don't see that happening. I think they're going to try to go for it. Again, the window they're in, Judge, Cole, getting up there. Now's the time to win. Yeah, man, listen, I'm not going to sit here and act like everything's perfect. I mean, the Yankees, just in a span of 2-3 days, they lost 10 pitchers. Their pitching depth was gutted. They lost 4 pitchers to San Diego. They lost 3 pitchers to Boston, Weissert, Fitz, and Judice. And they lost 3 additional pitchers to the Rule 5 draft. So, they lost 10 pitchers. They're going to have to figure out a way to replenish. But in the meantime, this lineup's going to be disgusting. And I want to talk about the potential, the upside that this lineup possesses when we return from our first break here on BD4 episode 589. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
We appreciate you sticking around and listening so far. When you have a chance, be sure to open YouTube to subscribe, like, and comment. And if you're already watching on YouTube, be sure to head over to Apple Podcasts and give us a 5-star review. We appreciate your feedback and are always looking to improve. Now, with that all said, let's get you back to the show.
Welcome back to the podcast. I'm your host, RJ Carbone, and you are listening to episode 589 of BD4. Appreciate you stopping by. I appreciate you stopping by. Whew, this is going to be fun. This is such a potent lineup now. It's such a difference within a year because of all the new faces you're bringing in. Soto, Verdugo, Austin Wells, Jason Dominguez, Trent Grisham. Of course, when Dominguez returns. But those guys are now, you're getting a full season out of. There's no more IKF, hopefully. There's no more Bowers. There's no more infielders starting in the outfield. My gosh. There's no more Willie Calhoun. There's no more Franchi Cordero. No more Billy McKinney. You got new faces, man. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 4 or 5 guys you're going to see in the lineup every day that are different than what was out there last season. That's a big fraction right there. That's a huge difference. People need to remember that. They say Soto, oh no, it's just one new guy. You need more. No. The prospects they called up at the end of last year will be playing. Grisham came with Soto. Verdugo was the move before that, and I believe they're not going to flip him for anybody at this point. I think they're keeping him. And if Dominguez can come back, I don't expect it, but if he does, maybe late August, maybe September, give you some at-bats, help you get into better seeding in the playoffs by then, which they will make. I'm confident the Yankees are making the postseason again. They're more durable. They're just more durable, right? I'm not even just talking about because they're a little younger. Wells, young. Dominguez, obviously he's hurt now, but he's young. They're going to stay healthy, I believe. I hope. But I'm talking about like Juan Soto, Alex Verdugo, Trent Grisham. They play games. Look at their track record. Yeah. They play games. That's good insurance for Giancarlo Stanton, who the Yankees seem to finally understand that he's not going to stay healthy after those Cashman comments, which I liked them. A lot of people took it the wrong way. But they got some insurance for when Stanton goes down now. They've got outfield depth, real outfielders who can play well in the outfield. This also gives Jason Dominguez time to heal, right? Which is why I think it might take longer than people expect. Because I think with all these outfielders now, they're going to look at Jason and be like, hey, man, there's no need to rush. We want to make sure you're 110% healthy before you come back. So make sure you're right, make sure you're good, and then we'll roll from there. It puts a lot less pressure on the vets. Stanton. It's not gonna, I feel like if Judge is healthy and Soto's healthy and they're both in the lineup, they're going to produce. So that's going to put less. Stanton's not a guy you look at anymore and be like, whoa, I need him to do this. He's not needed as much. So I think it's going to put less pressure on him. Same with Anthony Rizzo. Same with DJ LeMahieu. The bottom of the order looks a lot better now. Those guys don't have to be as high up in the order. Stanton's probably not going to be anywhere past 5. Not going to see him hitting 4 as much anymore. Rizzo's not going to have the expectation to carry the offense like he was doing for a while last year. No. There's less pressure on those guys. And of course, my whole favorite part of this is you finally got balance. You finally got lefty-righty balance in this batting order. You can alternate. You can do it. You can go left, right now. You finally got your key ingredient. The key ingredient for the Yankees to win World Series championships in the past was always getting that big lefty bopper in the middle of the order. Guess what they just did? So there's balance. You can platoon some of these outfielders lefty-righty. Actually, the two lefties in Verdugo and Grisham, you could even platoon them. Because Grisham, despite being a lefty hitter, he's got a better career slash line versus lefties than he does right-handed pitching. Grisham against lefties in his career, 242 with a 748 OPS. Last season, 256 with a 792 OPS. Verdugo versus right-handed pitching, 290 with an 807 career OPS. And last season, 279 with a 793 OPS. So you can platoon those guys righty-lefty. You know? And I'm just thinking about like the batting order and what I would do. You can do a lot with it. I would like to see what it looks like with Verdugo leading off. I would like to try that. Verdugo leading off in left field. Because he makes consistent contact. He's a good base runner. Now, the whole thing with Verdugo, his personality, it didn't sit well in Boston. There was a whole situation at the end there. And, of course, he got into a whole thing with Yankees fans that one game. But That bothers people. Doesn't bother me. I think if you produce, that's all that matters. Let's say that you're going to keep Judge 2 in center field. Now that's risky. Playing Judge in center, the age, coming off the injury he did, covering all that ground. It's risky, but again, you're going to have some days where Judge will be able to DH because you got Grisham in the mix. Or maybe on days where Grisham starts, he'll be in center field and Judge will slide to left field. They're going to have a rotation, so I'm sure they're going to try to keep Judge off his feet as much as possible. He's not going to be playing 162 games in center field. And Soto 3, that sounds amazing. And you're sticking him in right field. You're sticking Juan Soto in right field. It's the smallest, easiest outfield position for him, who's not a great defensive player. But him in a 3-hole, the protection that it's going to bring, you can't just walk Judge anymore. They can't pitch around him. You know what I mean? They're going to have to pitch to these guys. You got the 2 best hitters in baseball batting 2 and 3. And you can interchange that even. Right? You can go Soto 2, Judge 3. I don't care, because the amount of first inning runs this has potential to create, that was my whole thing. Back when the Yankees had a good offense, when their lineups produced runs, it was because they always got off to hot starts. They always put runs on the board early. And do you know what that does to a pitcher, to the morale of the other team? Just puts them down early. Teams who score first, teams who score right away like that, have a significantly better chance of winning the ball game. And that was such an identity to the Yankees. 3 years ago when their offense was clicking. I think that's going to come back, man. You're starting a game with 2 guys with 400 plus on bases. Like, you're going to first and second with 1 out minimum to start every game. Maximum. And if you want to walk those 2 guys, well, you got Glaber probably batting in the 4-hole. I know they like that. He's going to be at second base as long as they don't move him. We'll see what happens there. But I don't like Glaber in the 4-hole. But again, at this point, you can't really put Stanton there. I don't want him near there. And you want to spread the lefties out up top. Right? Because if you put like Rizzo in the 4-hole, and then you got Soto and Rizzo back to back, and then you got leading off for Duke. I want left, right, especially at the top. Maybe Rizzo at the 5, batting 5th, playing first base. Stanton, I would have 6th. I would have Stanton DHing, obviously, and batting 6th. There's not much expectation for me anymore. I don't expect a lot from Stanton. I will say I wouldn't think it's crazy for him to bat 230, produce a 750 OPS, give you 30 home runs. You know what I mean? The days of Stanton being an MVP candidate, hitting 45 home runs and staying healthy, those are long gone. Those aren't coming back. But I do think he has enough left in him to still be a productive bottom of the order bat. So I think batting him 6th, you're banking on him being something like that. And who knows? Maybe he's completely washed. But even on a bad year last year, he gave you, I want to say, 26 home runs. So maybe. We'll see. Could be a problem. Could very well be a problem. But let's just have him 6 for now. 7, I'll put DJ LeMahieu. The Yankees have already said, Boone confirmed it the other day, that he's going to be their, or Cashman, one of them, that he's going to be their starting third baseman. I'm assuming the Yankees are banking on his second half. I know they don't trust Peraza. And I'm hoping DJ's second half was more him finding something than it was just a fluky second half where law of averages took effect. I would have my starting catcher 8th, and I hope they play Austin Wells enough to where it's 60-40 over Jose Trevino. And if you're having Austin Wells on your roster, I can't see Ben Warfed sticking around. 2 lefty catchers. So I would like to have Austin Wells catch the majority of the games. It's probably at best going to be 60-40 over Trevino. You're not going to see you're not going to see Austin Wells take over the vast majority of the reps. It's going to be close to even. But I hope they play him more than Jose Trevino, because I do not trust Jose Trevino's bat. It is such an awful bat. Like, he can't hit. He had a few good months when he first came here. Ever since then, it's plummeted. And I love the guy, but it's plummeted. So I'm having Austin Wells bat 8. And I think Austin Wells is a guy who could give you a 750 OPS from the catching spot. I would take that. And batting 9th is your Gold Glove winner, your shortstop, Anthony Volpe. Anthony Volpe, I have batting 9th as that second leadoff hitter because he's not good enough yet to be the leadoff hitter. He's not a good enough hitter yet. His plate discipline's not there yet. He still chases too much. He's got to learn to, tame himself in the strike zone. Stop leaving the zone and those fastballs up in the zone. The curveballs get him. He's way too inconsistent at the plate for me to put him anywhere but 9 right now. And I don't think Anthony Volpe is going to be this crazy good elite all-star player either. But I do think it's in there to where if he was a guy who batted 250 for you and had a lot of 25-25 seasons, a guy who, took his walks, got the on-base percentage to a decent level, I would take that from a middle infielder for sure. And I think that's possible. So I'm having Volpe 9. I have an alternate lineup that I jotted down where I have Glaber leading off. Glaber, Soto, Judge. So Soto 2, Judge 3. The home run king. I could just imagine the home run king is at the plate with an automatic base runner every time, right? Because Soto gets on base more than anybody in baseball. So you're having him in front of Judge, and Judge is coming up to the plate with the guy on all the time. Rizzo 4 in this one. DJ 5, Stanton 6, Verdugo 7. Volpe 8, Wells 9, or Wells 8, Volpe 9, whatever. But I have Volpe 8 because I want the righty-lefty. Wells 9. You can also lead off with DJ. You could do a platoon there. You could have DJ bat against left-handed pitchers at the leadoff spot, and you could have Verdugo bat against right-handed pitching in the leadoff spot. But I do want consistency in the batting order. Like, we can toy around in the beginning like we usually do in April. It's like our extended spring training. But eventually, I would like for the Yankees to stop flip-flopping and stop playing musical chairs and actually have a consistent order where everybody knows where they're going to bat. Everybody's got a role. That'd be nice. But yeah, they got a lot of guys that can interchange and put at that leadoff spot. It's going to depend who earns it because there's a lot of versatility there. Like, you can go Verdugo, DJ, Glaber. You can even go Anthony Rizzo, as we've seen in the past. I just hope eventually they find one guy and they actually have roles for each of these guys. We'll see. Your bench, as of now, I guess it's, hopefully Trevino. Great defensive catcher, works well with the staff. Just can't hit. Grisham. Very good center fielder, very good outfielder. Not too far removed from a Gold Glove. Not the best hitter, but I will say in his first 3 seasons, he's 5 years into his career. In his first 3 seasons, he did have a slugging percentage of .410 or better. So there's some pop in there. Oswaldo Cabrera, I don't know if they're going to start the season with him in AAA. But I know that he did show more life down the stretch in 2023. I'm also curious to see if he, this offseason, has been working on switch hitting or if he's still going through with what he said about going back to the left side of the plate full time. So I'm curious to see what's going on there. And then I guess Pereira and Peraza, I feel like are trade bait. Pereira's blocked. Everson Pereira, I don't see being a part of the team next year. So I wouldn't be shocked if Pereira and even Peraza trade bait for pitching. Throw in Florial because he's not going to be part of the team either. But yeah, man, that's your offense right there with Juan Soto. It just looks a lot better. When we return, I want to talk about the pitching. Stay with us here on BD4. We'll be right back.
You can also find us on social media. If you'd like, you can follow BD4 on Facebook, and we're at BD4Pod on both Instagram and Twitter. We appreciate you helping us grow more and more every day. Let's get back to it.
Now, the starting rotation needs help. The Yankees cannot be done. They cannot and must not be done. I still think they need 2 starting pitchers. And I think one of them has to be Yoshi Yamamoto. Now, they're planning to meet with Yoshi Yamamoto on Monday. Apparently, the Yankees want him as much as they do Soto. I'm hearing that, again, with Hal saying that he's willing to spend $300 million. I mean, what else could that mean, right? Go after this guy at all costs. I'm hearing Matsui and Tanaka are going to be representatives here. That's good. Japanese Yankees have historic success here. It's a must. It is an absolute must, in my opinion, that the Yankees go out and grab Yamamoto. They have to. This has to be their next guy. They can't lose out to these losers in Queens. But the rotation right now, as it stands today, Cole, Rodon, Nestor, Schmidt, and then the 5th slot is currently empty. I would think the next one up in that 5th spot at the moment is Clayton Beeter, maybe Will Warren, maybe Chase Hampton in the second half. See some reps. Because the Yankee pitching depth, again, has been gutted. We now need guys 5 through 9. There's been talk about a Frankie Montas return. I'm not 100% against it because he was just injured. Like, he had some bad starts, but at the end of the day, he only made 8 starts when they first got him in 2022. He's going to be 31 next year. And if they bring him back, I'm not expecting it to be more than $12 million, right? I don't expect him to be anything more than a number 6, maybe out of the bullpen, but a number 6, spot starts. If he's your number 5 with Yamamoto, I can maybe talk myself into that, but I don't know. Maybe they'll go out and get Shane Bieber. People are starting to talk about Trevor Bauer again after that whole thing got settled, and it was, it turns out he's innocent, and I don't know how that would work. Obviously, he might not have the greatest relationship with Garrett Cole, the whole spider tech thing, but again, you squash that type of thing. Donaldson. I don't know though. I think from what I heard, Japan wants him back. Maybe he wants to stay over there. Corbin Burns is a name that's been floating around for a couple years now regarding trade and the Yankees wanting him. That would be a nice rental ace. I mean, if they got him for the rest of this season, because he's a rental, that's huge. So maybe you don't even have to move a Gleyber Torres if you want Corbin Burns, since he's only on a 1 year, or since he's only got 1 year left. Maybe it's like Pereira, Peraza, Trey Sweeney, Roderick Arias, or You know what I mean? Maybe. I mean, if you got Soto for that, talking Corbin Burns, I feel like you can get for something like that. There are obviously the noise. There's the noise about moving Gleyber Torres for Edward Cabrera. That kind of came up during the trade deadline. They wanted a lot more than just Cabrera, but I wouldn't be opposed to. I mean, Cabrera's a guy who's always intrigued me. His numbers haven't been crazy yet. He's 3 years into his career, but I know the walks are a big issue. But he's 25 years old with some upside. He has 221 strikeouts and 197 2/3 innings over the course of his career. You go to his baseball savant, if you're a nerd, it's all red. You'll fall in love with that. Yeah, I mean, he's got a good changeup, fastball, curve combination. An occasional slider. Sometimes he sinks his fastball. But his changeup, that's his number one out pitch. That's his excellent pitch. His fastball sits at 96. The thing is, there's not much separation between his fastball and his changeup. His change sits around 93. His fastball 96. So that's something that's, that might have to be toyed with. But the Yamamoto thing is, again, you got to get this done on Monday. Impress the hell out of the guy. It's gonna be fun to watch. It's gonna be entertaining. It's gonna be nerve-wracking. It's gonna be stressful. Cohen versus Steinbrenner. Cohen's got the deeper pockets, but you're the Yankees. You can always do whatever you want. You can get whoever you want. So if Hal really wants to do it, he'll throw him the bag. If he truly wants to, he's able to throw him the bag. And I think Yamamoto's, he's going to get anywhere from 200 to 250 million, in my opinion. He's going to be locked up for 7 to 9 years. It's going to be a big deal. It's going to be a risky deal. This is a guy who hasn't gotten the Tommy John yet. That's kind of how we have to think nowadays. Did he get it yet? But to me, if you don't get Yoshi Yamamoto, I cannot sit here and say the Yankees have a legitimate chance at the World Series. Unless you do something else and you get an ace like Corbin Burns, I could talk myself into that. But I don't know. I don't know that without Yamamoto, I could be 100% confident that it's a World Series contender again. Maybe Carlos Rodon rebounds. That's going to be an important part. He's the swing factor for me to the Yankee rotation. Can Carlos Rodon, can he rebound from a disastrous 2023 season where he was injured? He talked a lot of shit before his season began, got hurt, did the whole mustache thing, came back, got hurt more, pitched like shit, started talking shit to the fans, to the media. It was a disaster for him. Got into it with Boone, I think. If I can remember, it wasn't good. He needs to rebound. And if he can rebound and just be a number 3, be a guy who can pitch to a decent ERA. Can you give me a 3.40 ERA? Something like that. I worry about the back. I worry about the velocity dip. The stuff. But if he can rebound, that's huge. Nestor's another guy who dealt with injuries last year. If he can rebound, that'd be nice. I worry about him because, he was getting hit around the whole third time through the order thing. Limited how deep he could go into a game. It was a lot of 5 and fly, but maybe that's who he is now. If he can stay healthy, I take that. But you still need that second guy next to Cole. Who's that going to be? And it's got to be Yamamoto, in my opinion. Now, you go to the bullpen, and I'm not really as concerned with the bullpen. Just because the Yankees shit bullpen talent, they always find a way. Whether it be by trade, sign, or if they draft someone, they always find a way to turn this random reliever into a very serviceable reliever at worst. They do that all the time. So I'm not as concerned about the bullpen. Losing Mike King does suck. But I'm hearing the Yankees might sign Jordan Hicks, or they might. There's rumors. Nothing concrete. He's a current free agent. He's expected to get, I think I read somewhere like 4 years, $36 million, which is a $9 million AAV. He's a good right-handed relief pitcher from St. Louis. He played there from 2018 to last year, where he went to Toronto after the deadline, and he pitched 25 games for them. 27 years old, and he's got a lot of upside. He's got a 100-mile-an-hour fastball. He's primarily fastball slider, or I guess sinker sweeper, to be specific. And that pitch is unhittable. He's got a very unhittable slider, sweeper, whatever you want to call it. It's a good pitch. Last season, he posted a 3.29 ERA across 65 and 2/3 innings, 81 strikeouts. In his career, he's got a 3.85 ERA. So maybe he's an option. Jordan Hicks. Luis Heel, I think, is finally healthy. So maybe you see him. I'm assuming they're going to ramp him up, and maybe you won't see him until the second half. And if you do, it might be out of the bullpen. Scott Efros is healthy. We haven't seen that guy pitch in forever. So I'm not as concerned about the bullpen, but I like the bullpen. It's the rotation for me that needs beefing up. The lineup, I'm getting more. I would like one more, bench bat, nothing crazy, just to feel a little more confident. But it's going to be a good lineup, man. And I think that's it for this segment of the show. Shohei Ohtani, did he sign with Blue Jays? Did he sign with Toronto? Did he not? I don't know. Where is he? People don't even know where he is right now. That whole thing's going on Twitter. It's a little hectic. But, yeah, man, we got Juan Soto, and that's a good thing. And I'm very excited for it. So, with that said, we're going to wrap this part of the show up, and we'll get to the second half of the show as soon as we go to break and head back. But before we get to the second half and head to break, we'll wrap this segment of the show up with our trivia right now. All right, so for this episode 589 of the podcast, our trivia: on April 23rd, 2000, which two Yankees players each homered from both sides of the plate in the same game? All right. On April 23rd, 2000, which two Yankees players each homered from both sides of the plate in the same game? So let me know the answer wherever you can reach me. If you get the answer correct, I'll give you a shout out in the next episode. That's it. I appreciate you all tuning in. And again, we're going to head to part 2 of this episode as soon as we return from break, where Greg Gill from Yankee Crazy Podcast will join the show. Greg's been on a few times where we've talked Yankees a number of times on the show here, and we've always had, it's always been a good time. So he's joining us in just a few minutes, and we're going to get right into that conversation that he and I, as I'm recording, haven't had yet, but as you are listening to this, we have the conversation about Juan Soto and the Yankees. So we'll get to that right now, right after this break. Stay with us. We'll be right there.
If you have time in the day, or maybe just prefer old-fashioned reading over listening, then you can always follow along and subscribe to BD4 Blog by going to BD4blog.com. We're not on there as often, but when we do post, it's just as entertaining, opinionated, and passionate as we are on this podcast. Thank you so much. And let's keep on with the show.
Studio 69 Productions is a podcast production agency created by Leo Rodriguez to allow content creators to market their podcast. It's an online platform that will market your podcast or any other project that you're working on. Get in touch with Leo Rodriguez from Studio 69 Productions. You can find Studio 69 Productions on Instagram at Studio 69NJ. Studio 69 Productions, where dreams are heard and born. Here it is. Okay. We're probably got 40 minutes because I have like the trial. So
Right. Yeah, I know. Last time we were like, well, we gotta get to it next time.
I only need you for about 20, so we'll be out of here soon.
Awesome. Yeah, whatever it takes.
Yeah, dude. I'm thrilled, man. I like the last couple of days, all I've been doing is just like randomly it'll come to my head. I'm like, wow, we have Juan Soto on our team, dude.
Yeah.
So,
I know, like we were texting, like I had texted to you, it like, it was great getting that initial like, wow, we got him. But it didn't fully sink in to be like, wow.
It's like, especially because like the day before, there was just like we think we have him, but it wasn't confirmed, and it was like that for a whole day. So it was like we were just on edge, and then I think I don't know if it was like Morosi or someone the next morning tweeted that it became official, and I couldn't, man, I couldn't believe it. I know. I'm thrilled to have him. I know a lot of people are, thrilled as well, but there are some, I guess, skeptics. But overall, like, what's your thought process on this whole thing on getting Juan Soto for at least a year?
Yeah, originally, everybody knows Juan Soto. I just didn't know all the particulars, how good he really was, etc. And then, some of the negative parts of his game about his defense and base running came out. But I think ultimately his offense is so great. He's so consistent, doesn't strike out as much as some of the people, some of the players who are that you'd associate him with that strike out a lot. So I love it. We need that. We needed that other bat. He's a lefty and he's clutch and he gets on base. So it's something we were lacking last year. So I love it. And we'll see what his defense is, but look at the people we ran out there last year.
Yeah, dude.
Have Soto there. Maybe he's not going to make the most amazing diving, running catches that other really great defensive players can make, but as long as he's serviceable out there, and we'll see about this base running. Hopefully he just can get it together enough to be serviceable and not like someone, can't expect someone who I thought was one of the greatest base runners and heads up players as Derek Jeter. But even if he can just be, let's say, better than Glaber on the base paths, it's a success. But I love it. It's a great move.
Yeah. I mean, I think they'll be able to hide his defense by like sticking him in right field. Obviously there are going to be some moments that, make you frustrated, but I think, like you said, dude, with his offensive prowess, just it's gonna mitigate any defensive deficiencies that he has or anything on the bases. This guy's gonna come here, and as long as he's healthy and he's got a track record of staying healthy, he's gonna produce. And I just can't stop thinking of like him and Judge 2 and 3 in the order, and you could really interchange them whatever way you want, but like the protection they're going to provide for each other, and the fact that you can no longer, like pitchers towards the end of last season just started pitching around Judge, especially in his 60 home run season. You can't really do that anymore because you got a guy named Juan Soto right behind him. And you can make a case that you have two of the best hitters in baseball back to back. And I know that people kind of did this whole thing with Judge and Stanton, and that hasn't exactly worked out, but I just feel like there's something different with Juan Soto because he's a guy who's 25 years old coming here, and he's also a guy with a much more consistent track record of staying healthy than Giancarlo had. So I don't love that comparison when people try to, you know,
Right.
bring it down a little, but I think he's going to be great. And if anybody out there, I don't know if you have a Jacoby Ellsbury jersey, congratulations, because now that's become a free Juan Soto jersey.
Yeah, yeah. Well, what I love about it is my Yankee Stadium seats are 22 and 23. So 23 Don Mattingly, I always love that. And then 22 went from Ellsbury to Bader and now Soto. So
Yeah. Oh my
hopefully
God.
we get that extension and he's a Yankee for life. And I have a well, I'm sorry, Mattingly's not in the Hall of Fame. Obviously I think he should be there, but I am biased. So 22, 23 for my seats. I'm happy.
Yeah. I'm excited. Just like we open up against the Astros next year,
Yeah.
and I'm not sure if that's a home game or away series, but
I think it starts away. I think
okay.
it is
So
in Houston.
whenever the home opener is, I'm definitely going to be trying to go to that, and I can only imagine how electric it's going to be.
Yeah.
That's probably what the move was after all. They want to sell tickets and revenue and jersey sales and all that, but like, I'm excited for the roll call. Um,
Yeah.
I keep envisioning Yankee Stadium just going nuts in right field with him, and I think he's going to embrace it. I think he wants to be here. Obviously, we have to do a little winning. We might have to throw some money his way, but that's down the line. Right now, you're getting Juan Soto, and 2024 is going to be the most World Series or bust season we have had, in my opinion, because we got a lot of guys on rentals. You know, we got Soto on a rental. We have Verdugo on a rental. Judge and Stanton are 32 and 33 next year. So this is the window, and that's why this move makes perfect sense. You need to put something around those guys, and you got him relatively cheap considering this is again a top player in baseball. So I'm all for it, dude. Remember, people forget he's a World Series champion as well. He's got that
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah.
Oh, um, come here, stay healthy, and do it in October, and you're good with me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Exactly. Exactly. And that 1 year it's not terrible in terms of the World Series or bust type thing. So, like you said, between him and Verdugo, would love to see Juan Soto here long term. But even if he says he wants to go into free agency and test the waters, which so many of Boris's clients want to do because he gets them so much money, I don't have a problem with it. Well, if we win the World Series, I'm okay with that. But as of right now, I think it's just a good move. Just load this team up. Nothing long term right now, in terms of him, and just go for it.
Yeah. We also have guys coming off the books. I was kind of looking
Yeah.
into that. So
Mm-hmm.
that's a positive. But I just think it's a win for the Yankees. And like, obviously I'm going to miss, the guys we're sending out, Michael King and Drew Thorpe was an up and coming guy. So I kind of want to get your thoughts on the pitching depth now, because we did lose 4 pitchers to the Soto deal, an additional 3 to the Verdugo deal, and I think we also lost 3 that you mentioned in the Rule 5 draft thing. So we lost a lot of depth, but I think we'll be able to replenish, at least in the bullpen. I'm not concerned about, but I want to get your thoughts on the pitching as a whole, the rotation, the pen.
Right. Yeah. I feel like King, like everybody, was the biggest hit. But like you've always said, it's got to hurt a little bit to get a star caliber player. So he's the good one that's going to hurt the most. Let's see. Drew Thorpe, didn't really know a lot about him, a lot of hype around him. So we'll see. My new favorite, as I told you, a prospect is suspect.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I like that a lot. Hammer Maven
proves it. So, who knows? You never know what's going to happen with him. Brito and Vasquez, at certain times they showed some great stuff, but and they're still developing, but I never looked at them as in, oh wow, we got to hold on to them. They're future Cy Young Award winners, and maybe they are. Who knows? But again, the whole prospect is a suspect. So give up that. I know in the Rule 5, even though we lost some people, I know we signed somebody. I can't remember the stats, and I'm not sure who else we got in that Rule 5. So it kind of, even though you got to give up people in that, and I still don't fully understand it,
No.
we still get people that other teams might be like, "Ooh, that kind of hurt a little bit." There's only one guy I've heard that I can recall in the Rule 5 is a guy that we lost and went to the Red Sox, and I can't remember who it was,
Yeah, that
but
reliever.
yeah, and he was pitching pretty well. So that's the only one I've ever really heard. I feel like with, like you said, relievers, we can do relievers and sign some people, but for starters, that's where King was, hurts a little bit because he did transfer into being a starter at the end of the season, and you look at that, and it was probably the Yankees front office being smart about that and saying we can get more value out of King, and maybe that was the deciding factor of the whole Soto deal. But Yamamoto is still out there. I think you really got to go for him. He just looks like the perfect pitcher to put into the rotation. Blake Snell is still out there. I don't know how much he's going to want, probably a lot. And then Glasnow and Monty is still out there. So there's starting pitchers that we could go out and get. And Brewer's still, I don't know how much Burns has left, if he's got one more year. But they look to be shopping him a little bit. So with the starting pitching depth, looking at, you've got Cole, Cortez, Rodon, he's got to bounce back.
Yeah.
Who else am I? Schmidt. Who else am I missing out of there?
We don't have a fifth anymore.
Yeah, I think that's it, because
So,
everybody else who was ever in
yeah.
there is gone. So that's why you got to get Yamamoto, and you got to hopefully, the way pitching goes down and injuries, etc., got to sign, I think, at least 2 starting pitchers, because Clark Schmidt showed some promise last year, but is he going to be 100%? Like, is he going to be the 5th starter? Who knows? So as of right now, not feeling great about it, but I think they're going to go after Yamamoto. Obviously, meeting with him this upcoming week on Monday, and hopefully that deal gets done and he solidifies what we have right now. So we'll see.
Yeah, I agree. That's like the guy to me that you have to try to hammer down on. I know from what I'm hearing, the Yankees want Yamamoto as much as they do Soto, so that's a positive sign.
Yeah.
But also you've got that guy over in Queens who's willing to spend anything right now. He's got the deeper pockets, Cohen. So we'll see. The Yankees are, from what I hear, also they're bringing in Matsui and Tanaka as representatives to this, so that's pretty cool. Obviously, the Yankees have a great history with Japanese talent. I think he's got to be the number one guy you target. You have to find him and, sell the whole New York thing to him, sell the whole Yankee history thing on him. And he's going to cost a lot. It sounds like he wants over 200 million. It sounds like he wants like a 7, 8, maybe 9-year deal. But again, this is the window. So I think you have to do it. And then you're, like you said, relying on rebound years from like Nestor and Rodon. So they dealt with a lot of injuries last year. Rodon, maybe he just needed a full year to come back from the issues that he had dealt with. Nestor's a little more interesting to me because, he showed the Yankees 1.5 really great seasons. And last year he had the injury, and, when he was healthy, he kind of struggled getting through the game. 5 innings was a bit tough for him. They always talk about now that 3rd time through the order. So maybe he becomes like a guy lower down in the order. All you ask from him is to go 5, and you let the bigger guns like Cole, Rodon, and Yamamoto do their work. But I think Rodon's going to be the key to me. He's going to be the swing factor. If they have him pitching like he did with San Francisco, or even close to that, I don't need him to be an ace, but just be a good number 2 next to Cole. I think we're good. And like you said, I'm not worried about the bullpen. The Yankees always find a way to either develop talent in the bullpen or trade for talent, sign talent. They always find a way to pick up guys.
Yeah.
Jordan Hicks, I think his name is. He's been a
Right.
target of theirs. So I think from what I saw, he's expected to look for like a 4-year, $36 million deal. That was in the Athletic article that I read.
Mhm.
We also have to, remember we have guys coming back healthy. I'm interested to see what Scott Efros looks like. We haven't seen him pitch in a while. Luis Hill, who I was very high on this guy 2 years ago when they brought him in. He looked very good as
Yeah.
a starter. Maybe we
Yeah.
see him in the second half. They're probably going to ramp him up first. Comes in as a reliever. That wouldn't be bad.
Mhm.
Yeah, you mentioned Corbin Burns. That'd be a good rental ace. And if my thought process is if Soto costed that little, a guy like Corbin Burns, if you're renting him for a year, I don't think it's going to cost anything crazy. I think maybe you throw in a Peraza or a Pereira. I can't see those guys being used much this year.
Yeah.
Maybe you dig into your farm. Sweeney, I know he's a shortstop who's blocked right now, obviously with Volpe. So I think you can find a
Right.
way. But yeah, I think I'm not going to call this a World Series team just yet. But if they can go and grab Yamamoto and then maybe a bench bat or a bullpen arm, something small after that, I think that's going to get me a little bit excited, and I might start thinking
Yeah.
about the World Series again because that would be a pretty cool thing. And one last thing I just want to add, I Soto's great, and like I think what people are forgetting is like we have completely new faces in the lineup this year. It's like we have Soto, we've got Verdugo, we're adding in Grisham. Obviously Dominguez is working his way back. Hopefully he's here July, August-ish. We got, 4 or 5. We got Austin Wells, who we're going to be seeing a full season out of, hopefully. So those are 4 or 5 guys who are going to be in the everyday lineup now that you didn't have last year. You're not having IKF and Bowers play outfield as infielders. You're not having
Right.
Calhoun, Franchi, get at bats. So
Yeah.
there's a completely different look to the lineup. There's more lefty righty balance. You can alternate
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
You got more durability in there. I know Soto plays every day. Verdugo has played a lot. Grisham plays a lot. So you got some insurance for when Stanton goes down. And I say when because we all know it will happen. And Cashman even said it, ruffled some feathers in the fan base, but I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah.
So yeah, just thoughts on the lineup as a whole and in the different dynamic that we're going to be looking at here as we head into 2024 in a few months.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love a lineup back in the day that Joe Torre used to be able to put together with the righty lefty, righty lefty. I think it's important. Analytics might say different. I don't know, but I just think it's great that a pitcher sees, has to use different angles with that when you've got that repetitive lefty righty, and we've got that now. Getting Verdugo, who he's been polarized, been a polarizing character since the signing, but I think he can slot in and just go under the radar and have a really solid season. His offensive numbers were, I think, when they compared him to last year's lineup, he was like right below Glaber, and Glaber had a really solid season. So you look at him, maybe he's the leadoff. You can really play with that lineup in terms of who's leading off. I think DJ really isn't a leadoff guy anymore. I know they still think that. So I see him leading off at times. But if you've got DJ leading off as a righty, then you can go Soto, then Judge. If you, let's say Verdugo, who I know has led off for the Red Sox, if you go him as a lefty, then you go Judge with the as a righty, Soto as the lefty, and then kind of fill in from there. So I love that versatility that a Verdugo being a lefty and Soto being a lefty brings to it. Need a bounce. Well, I shouldn't even say bounce back season from Rizzo. Rizzo was playing well until he had that neck injury. So if he can get back to playing his solid ways, he's great defender. He was, before that neck injury, he was like close to hitting 300, I think, or he had a really nice streak that he was on. So he was performing well. So I don't think he's done. So you've got him as another lefty. Giancarlo should get moved back just because really shouldn't be that four hitter in my opinion. Glaber should even be before Giancarlo. I think he has been performing better than him last season. And then, like you said, you've got Wells. We've got Trevino coming back, hopefully fully healthy. And even though his offensive numbers look really bad, said he was playing through that injury for most of the year. And that was kind of a head scratcher because the year before when we first got him, it was like, not the greatest offensive producer, but he was clutch, made a lot more contact. And last year he just looked lost. And then when it came out that he had been injured, it made sense to me. So him being healthy and having that righty lefty combo at catcher, and those guys I'd rather see Wells there because his offensive potential. But we'll see. Having those guys to flip flop, I think, is great. Volpe coming back. Hopefully, he gets that average up in his second year. And then from there, who else are we missing? I can't remember. I think that's it. I think I covered it. So it's a really solid lineup, in my opinion. Third base is even though they've said we're ready to go at third base, that seems, DJ, I don't know what we're going to get out of him. He's like been up and down and had the injuries, but hasn't produced like his first year here. We'll see. Hopefully, I would say he's got to have a bounce back year. Although I think we've been saying that for 2 years now, that he needs a bounce back year. I have been a big Peraza fan. I hope he is the backup utility infielder and that he can get some playing time at third base as well. I don't know why I like him. I just think he's got really good potential. And then you've got Grisham, who is not offensive-minded player, but very good defense. And you signed him, and he's got $5 million contract, so it's not like he's going to be gone. He's going to be that extra outfielder. And like you said, I think Pereira can be expendable to maybe get some pitching. And the past couple of years, it hasn't been the pitching; it has been the offense that has been the downfall. The pitching's actually been really good. So I think these additions to the lineup is going to make this a really solid team, and we'll see what happens. But I've got really high hopes.
Yeah, and you mentioned the leadoff spot being kind of interchangeable, and that's actually one of the things I had on my notes. You can do a lot with it because you can have maybe DJ lead off against left-handed pitching, and then Verdugo against right-handed pitching. I know sometimes they like to go Glaber or Rizzo. Not something I'm totally opposed to. Then again, 2 and 3, you can have Soto, Judge, Soto. It really doesn't matter. They're both going to protect each other. And I would also like to I would love to see Stanton, like you said, lower down in the order. I think the ideal spot for Giancarlo will be like 6th. I don't expect a ton from him, but honestly, this is crazy saying it, but if he can give you 30 home runs from a 6-hole hitter, I'm living with that. He's not the same player he used to be. I think I've kind of just accepted that at this point. He's, not going to play 140 games anymore. He'll get hurt. So you stick him in the 6-hole and see what he can do there. Same thing with LeMahieu. Like you said, they said that he's going to play third base this year. I think they're banking on his second half, which was good. Maybe he found something. Maybe it was just a good stretch. We'll see there. So there are definitely some questions, but again, the lefty righty balance thing is great. I think you put Volpe at 9. I think that's a really good spot for him as that second leadoff hitter spot. Like you said, that's he's got the speed, but he hasn't quite earned it as a hitter yet with the lack of plate discipline to be an actual leadoff hitter. So I think for now you stick him at 9 and he might thrive there. And again, the catching spot. I'm hoping Austin Wells gets the position, but the Yankees, a lot of the time, they do like to go 50-50, maybe 60-40. I'm just hoping that Wells gets those majority of the reps because he's young, he's a left-hander, and he's got more pop in the bat. And although he's got, defensive questions, whereas Trevino plays very good defense and he works well with the staff, I thought that Wells looked good as a catcher last year. at least until I stopped watching and got bored. But yeah, dude, I think the lineup's going to be a lot better. I'm excited for the first inning because with those three guys, with whoever leads off and then Judge and Soto, that does a lot. If you could put up some runs on the board in the first inning again, that's the key to the Yankee offense. When their offense is clicking, I always feel like it's because they're on the board early and they just deflate the other team's morale by putting runs up. So to have Judge up every time with a man on first now with Soto, that's going to be awesome. Vice versa. Like it's just jump starting this offense it's always been key to me, scoring in the first inning.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. And like you said, with that leadoff, we haven't had a true leadoff hitter in really long time. I guess DJ was like that when he was hitting well, but also, like you said, Glaber. I don't mind Glaber there if he's hitting well. And I think Glaber, everybody has noted that when he isn't trying to hit the ball a mile, he hits so much better.
Yes.
And going with the pitch and not trying to pull everything, you just see he's got that power to right field, right center, which plays obviously great at Yankee Stadium. And if he just does that and plays his game and tries not to do too much, he could be the leadoff hitter for a majority of games. So yeah, I'm excited. I am really excited about this team, and add Yamamoto, I'll be even more excited. Or another one of those top guys. And I've got really high hopes for 2024.
Are you concerned at all about the outfield and having Judge in center field coming off the injury at 32 years old and all, having to cover all that ground?
I guess I take a different view as a lot of the people you'll see on TV, like Jack Curry has talked about it this past week, and somebody, I can't remember who else I was watching, said, "Oh, you don't want Judge in center field, all that wear and tear." And I understand it. It's a more it's a position that does take a lot more because you're covering a lot of ground, but Judge is such an athletic guy, and I like him in center field. When he plays center field, he makes some amazing plays. And I guess I just don't buy into this whole thing of big guys in cleats and look at the NFL. Granted, it's a different sport. There's some guys in the NFL who are taking hits and big guys and can have longer careers. And, like I said, it's a completely different sport, but I don't buy into it. I like Judge in center field. I would like to see him get a lot of games in center field. And then maybe, if you're going to mix it up, I know Verdugo isn't great in center field is what the statistics are saying, but have him, put him, if you want to give Judge a little bit of rest, put him out there. And I know they like to do the whole Judge DHing and make that DH spot a rotating thing. So I think if he gets a majority of the reps in center, but then DHing and in right field, I think you can manage this whole theory that a big guy like him shouldn't be playing center field. So
yeah,
I'm good with it. I like it.
Yeah, I think we'll be okay there too. That's a good point. Like having all these new outfielders now and guys who can actually play well defensively, like Grisham, it's going to help Judge get off his feet. So there will be days when Grisham's in center, you could stick Judge, somewhere else in the corner. There will be days when Judge can DH. Of course, Stanton will go down at some point, so that's going to open up a spot for Judge. They'll be able to maneuver it, and I think that's it, man. I think I'm just very excited, and I think again just need to make that one last move, and I really think Yamamoto has to be just as much as a necessity as Soto was to me, because I need that assurance, that insurance behind Garrett Cole, that I know someone else is going to be on their game, because right now after Cole, like we mentioned, there's a lot of question. So I think you get Yamamoto. Sure, there will be some question there, but I've always liked international pitchers, like Japanese pitchers. They've always done a very good job with the Yankees. There are some exceptions, of course, but there's something about them, man, and it's Yamamoto. Damn, the dude's good. I watched a lot of him, a lot of his highlights. I know Cashman went and visited him for the no hitter.
Yep.
So yeah, I think that's the last thing we need to do. And after that, I think again, like I said, one or two small moves and we're set to go. But the Soto deal has me very excited, man. And what is your, before we wrap up, what's your John Sterling call for Juan Soto? I know we've talked about it a little bit through text, but there are a lot of avenues you can go down here, but I want to know the number one that you have in mind.
Yeah, I saw a good one that someone, I was trying not to look because I wanted to think of my own, and I think I saw someone, and it played with how we've been going back and forth with how you can do one, meaning with one, the one and only. Although I gotta say, Sterling, his calls are like going downhill to me. I'm like, oh, but like when I think he jumped the shark with the Giancarlo, and that thing that nobody understands, and you had to look up. I think that one's really bad. So I think he's gotten really bad. So I got to think of a lame one. So I think he'll say, I haven't really thought about it, but it's got to be something with Juan. That Juan is over the fence.
Yeah.
And then maybe he'll do something. I don't know what rhymes with like Soto.
That's gonna be tough. I don't know.
I'm gonna go with that one.
I like that one.
Juan. Yeah. That one is over the fence or something like that.
There's so many you can go with. I have an idea I have a proposal that could make the Yankees some money. So you know how Juan Soto has that like the Soto shake that he does at the plate, the Soto shuffle?
Yes.
They have the number 99 burger. They should make a milkshake, the Soto shake. And the logo should be him doing a little shuffle there. So I'm just trying to make them money. I think that would help. I don't have a home run call, but I do have that idea. So
I think that's perfect. And you can put a little like a cutout of him on the shake machine, and as they're making it, the thing shakes.
Yes, that's perfect. Wow.
Oh, wait, question for you. Does Judge give up 99 for Verdugo?
Oh, yeah. Of course he does.
Okay, let's guess what number Verdugo is really going to go for. What do you think?
Probably 98, because he likes to be like that. He seems like that personality where he's just going to like...
What'd you say, 98?
98, because he seems like that type of personality where he's just going to do something stupid like that. I can't have 99, I'll have 98. Like,
I agree, actually. I think he's going to do 98. Yeah,
I'll do something stupid
like that. That was what I was thinking.
And I was joking on social media the other day. I said, my dad's going to hate this guy because he wears grills and has a chain. So it's going to be funny.
Yeah, it'll be interesting if they actually tell him to tone some things down. He's got a shave and he's just one of those guys who can't grow a beard. So I think that'll be an improvement for him.
Yeah. I think at the end of the day, the personality is something else, but like at the end of the day, if he produces for the Yankees, the fans are going to fall in love with him. So that's what happens with everyone here. I
can't remember if it was you or I read it somewhere, but someone was like, he's going to bring that Nick Swisher energy.
Yeah. Yep.
People, and I could see Verdugo doing the same thing, but in a lighthearted way. I loved Swisher, so I loved how he was goofy and out there and had all that energy. So if Verdugo is Swisher 2.0, I love it.
Yeah, and even him and Soto both bring that type of swag. They play with the style, a little a little fashion. So it's going to be good. Yep. Hey man, I appreciate you coming on, dude.
Thank you. Always a pleasure, man. Love it.
Greg from Yankee Crazy Podcast. Thanks, man.
You got it.
This episode was brought to you by Anchor.
Hey there! If you stayed the entire way through, we thank you immensely for it. We hope you enjoyed this podcast and that you come back for the next episode real soon. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, download these episodes, and share them with your friends as well. BD4 is a 5-star podcast simply because of you. And we'd like to keep it that way. Have a wonderful day. Go Yankees and go Knicks.